We're gonna switch on the headlights of this truck with a dark evening setting to create a legit looking scene in Lightroom app. Don't forget to watch till the end for some handy tips and tricks. We have this image of a truck in the daylight with a bit of contrasty looking image. If we are going for an evening to dark setting, the contrast is less noticeable. So we'll flatten the image first by going to the light menu. Starting by increasing shadows and blacks to brighten the darker midtones and the darkest parts of the image respectively. Similarly, reducing highlights and especially whites to darken the brightest parts of the sky. Reducing the exposure to darken the overall image. Now moving to color menu. Reducing the vibrance as the colors are muted in a dark setting. Now to the individual color tuning in color mix. First we'll move the blue hues towards cyans, also reducing its saturation. We'll also move yellows and greens towards right and reduce their saturation too. Reducing the saturation of cyans, which may be slightly affecting the vegetation. Now we'll start creating the lights on the truck with the masking filters. But first I'm going to start with Select Sky filter. This gives almost perfect selection of the sky. For this, in light menu, we'll darken the sky further by reducing the exposure. Moving on to the headlights now by adding a radial filter. After drawing a filter on this headlight, we'll set the feather to about 50%. In light menu, increasing whites and highlights to give glow to the LED strip and bulb. Increasing the exposure to brighten. Brightening the shadows a bit. We'll decrease the blacks to give some contrast for now. In the effects menu, adding some haze by sliding the dehaze slider towards left. Moving to the color menu to add warm tones to this mask. Increasing the temperature. Going to the color box, adding orangish tones. This gives a nice base light. I'm gonna long tap on the radial filter and choose duplicate option. This creates the same edit with another mask. We'll move this to the other headlight and resize the mask. I'm going to create another radial filter, now a smaller one on top of the headlight. This I will brighten further by increasing highlights and whites. Also adding haze by sliding the dehaze slider towards left. This gives a bright bulb at the center. We'll duplicate and move it to the other light. Next, we are going to create light beams starting on the left headlight. I'm going to use linear gradient filters for this. First, we'll add it by dragging and just covering the whole headlight. Now this filter covers the whole red part of the image you see. To only cover the headlight, I'm gonna tap this plus/minus button and select subtract from this mask and choose linear gradient filter again. We'll drag it from the top a bit towards bottom just above the light. This will subtract the original mask selection and removes the top portion. You can see the selection now. Trying to create a decent cone-shaped beam here. I will create another subtract mask. This may not be needed as you can do some tuning with the original mask itself. showing how you can use multiple masks to get the right selection here. We still have the extra selection towards left of the lights. To remove it, I'm going to choose subtract and add brush mask here. We'll resize the brush, set the feather to more hardened edges and increase the flow to 100%. We'll just brush on the headlight and wherever the mask was on the left. You can see we have got the right selection now. We'll subtract with another linear filter towards the right to soften the beam a bit. Now we are going to make edit to this selection mask, adding exposure, highlights and whites. Increasing shadows too. In the effects menu, adding haze. Also reducing clarity and texture to soften the details there. In the color menu, adding temperature. Just reducing the contrast a bit. Tuning to get the right edit. Going back to the color menu, adding some warmer tones to get this beam going. We'll duplicate this mask and move it towards the other light. You may have to move the gradients a bit to fine-tune this selection for this light, only if needed. We have finished the second main part of creating lights. Next, I'm going to add a mask by selecting the subject, which selects the truck here. We'll just slightly pop it a bit by adding clarity in effects menu. Next, to get some light on the road in front of the truck, I'm going to add a radial filter and place it and resize accordingly. Also tuning its feather to get right hardness on the edges of the filter. Increasing whites, also shadows to brighten that part, bit of exposure too, adding temperature and warmer tones in the color menu. With a similar kind of edit, we'll use radial filter to add reddish bright tint to the tail lights. Now going to the color grade in the color menu. Here we'll add cooler tones to the shadows by adding bluish colors. Warmer tones to the highlights. This gives some contrasting colors between the darker and brighter parts of the image. We'll add another linear gradient filter around the top and darken it a bit. Similarly, one at the bottom left. Here's the final result. Hope you found these tips useful and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.